It's gonna be good, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be better, I can't wait. Making my move, live for the day, sing like a bird, fly like a plane. Come spill with me, Jenny D.
It's me, Jenny D from Spill With Me, Jenny D podcast. I'm just so excited. Today's podcast is brought to you by Modcon, Home Improvements and Construction. And they are my sponsor for the month of November, which is military families and veteran-owned businesses. So I'm so excited to have the owners here of Modcon. I have Zach and I have Emma. And we were talking about military families, and Emma and I were going back and forth with emails, and I thought this couple has a lot going on and what they're doing is amazing. But Zach, I just want to kind of go back a little bit and talk about, like, why did you get into the military and what armed forces did you get into?
Yeah, so I was in the Marine Corps. In 2012, I was in my first year of college. I was going to Penn State, pre-med, and
Pre-med. We were saying that before. We're like, pre-med.
yeah.
You wanted to be a doctor?
Yeah, anesthesiologist specifically.
Okay.
I don't know, took some interest to it. Honestly, it's so long ago now, I barely remember exactly why I wanted to do it.
Let's be honest. When you go to school, how do you really know what you want to do? I hate that. Because I have a son that's junior in high school, and then I have one that's a Silver Rock, and my daughter graduated. And it's so hard to say, like, oh, well, what do you want to do for a living?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you want to do as a 17-year-old for the rest of your life?
Right.
Yeah.
So you went to Penn State.
Yeah, so I went to Penn State. I was going to school full-time, more than full-time, technically, and working part-time. And I think I, honestly, looking back, pretty much just burned myself out pretty quickly. And so, probably halfway through my second semester, I kind of was like, I'll join the Marine Corps, I wanted to join the military.
So you already knew, like, do you have people in your family that are in the military?
Yeah, my dad was in the Air Force.
Oh, okay.
My grandpa was in the Air Force.
Oh, wow.
I have cousins in the Air Force.
Wait, so they didn't say, hey, Zach, you need to go to the Air Force?
No, I got some backlash for sure. But I was, at the time of my life, I was like, if I'm going to go big, I'm going to go for the hardest. And in my mind, that was the Marine Corps. And so I, made a recruiter's day and walked in and was like, hey, signing up. Like,
oh my gosh.
That's that. You don't have to talk me into it or anything.
Now, because you were going to school for pre-med, were your parents like, wait a minute, like, you're going to go into the military now? Were they a little bit like, wait?
Yeah, no. My dad probably didn't talk to me for like 4 or 5 days when I told him. Yeah. I wasn't excited. Obviously that's long since changed, but.
Right. But this is, it's funny because when we're talking about this, it's your decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's ultimate. And for you to want to serve, like, thank you so much, first of all, for your service.
I appreciate that.
Like, that is just amazing. And I'm just, thankful that you're here and you're able to talk about it and help other veterans. But so when you went into that office, you're like, okay, I'm signing up. So what did they do? What did you have to do at first?
I remember correctly, there's,
wasn't that long ago, was
it? I've done a lot since then.
Been out for a while now.
Yeah. No, I've been out for a while. It was 12 years ago now. So when I joined, obviously.
Were you 18?
But I was 19.
19, okay.
Might have been getting close to 20 at that point. Honestly can't remember. But yes, you go in, they still give you the spiel, the stuff you're going to have to do, any of that. And I don't even remember really how I ended up picking my job, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they were like, if you want to go soon, these are your options.
Right.
Because they've got buckets to fill.
When you say job, do you mean, Zach, like what you'll be in charge of, or do you have to go through like the whole process of what is that called? Beginning
boot camp.
Boot camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you essentially pick what they call an MOS, which is a job in the military. So I was, they called it 0411. I was a logistics clerk.
Okay.
Um,
Ooh, logistics.
so
Serves you
yeah,
well now.
yeah. So I mean, you pick that early on. You go to boot camp, and then you go to, um, I don't remember the acronym, but it's combat training school.
Right. Okay.
And everyone who's a non-combat job goes to that specific school. It's like 28 days or so.
Okay.
And then you go to your MOS school, which is where you actually learn how to do your job.
Oh,
And
wow.
then those vary widely depending on the job.
Right.
How long you'll be there. I think my school was supposed to be 2 months, and I got there at a weird time in the rotation, so I ended up spending like 4 months there,
Oh, wow.
which was convenient though, because I got to come home for like 3 or
Where
4
was
weeks.
it? Where were you stationed?
For school
For
or
school.
school was in North Carolina.
Okay.
I honestly don't remember where exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
In North Carolina. Oh, jeez.
yeah, no, it was nice.
Was it nice?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Are you guys from Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
We're both from around
Yeah.
here.
You're born and raised there. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's,
The weather is way
the
nicer.
weather's
The
nicer.
weather.
The weather's nicer there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
So yeah, so we were, you go through MOS school, and then I was in the reserves, so then you kind of like come home, and then you go to your reserve unit,
Okay.
and then it's 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks in the summer, and then obviously you can, not obviously, but
Yeah.
that you can do like extra, time,
Right.
with your reserve unit, if you're just looking to like get retirement credits or stuff like that.
Okay. I was going to say, there's so much that goes into the military that I don't know a lot about. My brother was in the Navy. He was stationed, he all around, but he was in Italy. And I went to go visit him, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, his friends that are all Navy, they were like, there's a American woman. I'm like, that's right.
I'm here.
I'm here. But I just, I didn't learn a lot. I just wrote him letters and stuff. And it was a different time because we're a lot older than you two. So it was like a different time then. So, I mean, when you went there, was it what you expected? Did you enjoy it? I mean, I don't know if I can say enjoy. Like, what would be?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, boot camp is stressful. It's intentionally stressful,
I
and
think it's supposed to be right.
I had some friends who
Yeah.
had already been through it, so I kind of like had an idea of what to expect.
Okay.
So going through it with like they're yelling at me because it's their job makes
Right.
it a whole lot easier to deal with it.
Yes.
So at the time it's stressful. You're running nonstop, but like you look back at it, and you get to do some really cool stuff.
Yes.
So I mean, at the time, a little rough, but definitely looking back, a lot of fun stuff. You learn a lot of cool stuff. You get to do.
You're bonded with the guys that you're, in your boot camp, right? Like, do
Yeah,
you keep
exactly.
in touch with any of them, or do you see any
A
of them?
few, yeah. I have a few that we're still Facebook friends, and we talk occasionally. Um, you
Because
know,
you have that, like, it's almost like not a sorority, but it's almost like you have this like fraternity of guys that you've been through some things, you've seen some things, you've heard some things together.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, that to me is something that's like
A
you have that
shared bond.
Yes,
Yeah.
a shared bond.
it's easier to deal with poor situations
Right.
when you're doing it together with somebody else.
Right, exactly. And it's like, I think a lot of people they'll watch, something on TV. I don't know, Black Hawk Down or one of those movies. My husband loves all those movies. Like, what is that one? Not Men of Honor. Oh gosh, I can't think of it.
I'm so
it
bad
has
with movie
Band of
titles.
Brothers.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
There's
Okay.
so many of those, but we see it on, but we don't really know what goes on. And I just value, and I'm so grateful and blessed that we have so many incredible men and women in our armed forces in the military. And just it's just amazing. But so you came home. How old were you when you came back and you started like looking for a job? Because I want to know when you met this pretty young lady over here.
After your deployment, you got deployed.
yeah,
So.
yeah. No, so
Oh, okay. When did you get deployed?
I got deployed in 2018.
Okay.
Was it
Yeah.
2012? Yeah, it would have been February of 2018.
Oh wow.
I actually, it's kind of a luck of the draw thing.
Yeah.
applied for this deployment as a sergeant in the Marine Corps, E5, and the slot I applied for was actually for an E8 for a gunnery sergeant,
Okay.
and so I technically couldn't fill the position at all.
Oh.
Um,
Go ahead.
and it just so happened to be like 2 weeks before the
Yeah.
deployment or the pre-deployment training, the gunnery sergeant got sick and he couldn't
Oh
go
my
anymore, and I
gosh.
was the only other person who applied.
Oh wow.
So I actually got thrown into that, 2 weeks out from pre-deployment. So that was
Yes.
a little hectic, but um, so I ended up getting deployed to the country of Georgia for a training mission.
How
Um,
long were you there?
we ended up being there just short of 11 months. We were supposed to be there for 10 months.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was a hurricane that hit.
But you didn't meet yet.
No, we didn't.
Well, we knew each other before,
Yeah,
but then we fell out of touch.
yeah,
So we
Okay.
knew each other a little bit before that happened, and then we didn't get back together until after
yeah.
you came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, when you're there, and you're there 11 months, and you don't see your family or friends, but can you talk to them on the phone?
Yeah, so
Technology's so different. You FaceTime now.
Yeah.
thankfully, we were there on an established military base. We're not in a combat zone. We're
Yeah.
just below Russia. In a a totally like normal city. I think the year we were there, like their capital, Tbilisi, was named like one of the highest rated places to go on vacation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you felt safe.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
without question.
Yeah, because that.
No.
Oh my gosh, like I would just be so nervous. Just
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
the family at home, like, oh my gosh, is he okay? Is he okay? Because you can't really have a lot of contact.
Yeah. I mean, I had a cell phone there.
Yeah.
Like we had cell phone service. Like we had Wi-Fi on the base. So like we were easily accessible. I think we were 8 hours time difference. So like,
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely
I
Central.
didn't think
so
about
that was
that.
yeah.
Mhm.
So like
8 hours. Oh my.
we were getting up when everyone here was going to bed, pretty much.
Right.
But I mean, so it wasn't like like I have plenty of friends and know a dozen other people who've been to Iraq and Afghanistan and got to call their family one time while they
Ugh.
were gone. So it was.
Could people send you food? I always wondered that. Like, can they send you food and stuff?
We could actually Amazon.
Really?
Oh my god.
It took.
See how different like technology,
Yeah.
or not technology, or how like things have like advanced.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It took like a month, but you could
Oh
order things on Amazon.
Hey, I would like. Okay, and it's like a month later, like, oh wait,
Yeah.
I forgot I ordered this.
Yeah. So I mean, you couldn't really order perishable things, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Probably
could Amazon.
gummies and stuff.
Yeah,
People
like
said you
candy and
package.
stuff.
candy. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you were probably like there were probably things you were craving too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I always wondered like what did they eat? Like were there somebody there, like a cook that was cooking for the guys in the military? Was there a base where there's a kitchen and?
That really, at least from my understanding, honestly, varies. But like from for a lot of people, like on base, like a lot of military have cooks. So like
Yes.
the Marine Corps has cooks. Where we were at, we actually hired 4 or 5, Georgian citizens, and they came to our base, and we had one guy who was in the Marine Corps who was just in charge of them and made sure they just like had what they needed, and they cooked us. We had like Georgian food every day.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
But still, like, you're there and you were there 11 months. I don't know if you can even talk about like what you saw, what you did, but when,
Some of it.
yeah, I was going to say that's okay. Like, it's just, how was that experience?
Honestly, it was really enjoyable. It was, the time in my life where it didn't really affect anything. I was in the union working as an electrician plus doing my military stuff. I was nearing the end of my military contract. So, it was kind of really enjoyable for me. I got to experience like a lot of different cultures, which is fun for me. I like
Oh,
food from
yeah.
everywhere. It's
Exactly. I listen,
You do.
I'm a foodie too.
Yeah.
He loves it. We'll go try all these crazy things, and I'm like, what are we eating?
I was eating baby octopus the other
Yeah.
they're
last
like
Saturday.
alligator. No,
Yeah.
I can't.
Mm-mm.
But
But-
yeah, it's just that's the thing. Like you go for 11 months. When you came home, was it like? When was it? Because did you miss like I always think about the holidays and
holidays,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
I got back right before Christmas, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
I think I missed Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's so hard
know.
to remember.
I know, right? You're
Honestly.
Because like you have transition times.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a little weird coming back. Like I owned my own house at the time, so like I was trying to get like my cat back from
Oh, Luna.
someone who was watching her, and it's like it's definitely different because
right.
even
You didn't have anyone like maintaining, like you didn't have
Yeah.
anyone at your house maintaining it
Yeah.
at the time. Like some people have partners or spouses at home to like cover
You were
things.
young. You were only like what, 20?
I was
20.
2000.
I know.
I think I know this about 2018. I would have been 6 years ago.
Yeah.
26.
Emma's doing the math.
20,
in her head.
you were like 22, 23, 23-ish, 24,
Yeah. I was
around
like,
that time.
Uh,
So yeah, you don't know what to expect, and then so you came home, and then you're electrician now. Okay, how did you guys meet? I come on, Emma. I might have to put the mic closer to you.
Oh, I can talk louder. I can talk louder. So we originally dated the first time. So I'll say
Okay.
the first time we met was through Tinder. So we have the theme of
Oh
online
my God,
dating.
I'm so old.
We were dating. You had just joined, I think,
yeah, it was
in
somewhere around the
your
early
Marine
time.
Corps career. I was going to college at Duquesne University at the time.
Okay.
We met through Tinder. Like our first date, I always joke about it because I just hopped in the car because he said he was here, and he was like, "What if I was a killer? Like you just jumped in my car," and I'm like, "Well,
You have to do background checks.
Yeah, I didn't do that. Obviously, I was young and dumb, and I just hopped in his car, and I was like, "Well, if that was the case, then I guess that's what we're in for."
I know, please. My daughter and I did a dating episode and how different it is, and she was like, "Yeah, I met this guy in the woods and he had a picnic for me." I'm like, "Are you crazy?
Yeah, that's a little.
Oh,
What
man.
are you thinking?"
We were going to Mercurio's, like we were going down to Shady Side. We were not going into the woods for sure. I was sharing my location with all my roommates at the time. We kind of lost touch. We were both just doing different things. I was still in school for I think like a year and a half more at that time, and then fell out of touch. You got deployed, and we reconnected on a different dating app later in Hinge or something like that. Hinge.
Yeah.
It was just like a happenstance. I was actually going to just throw in the
he
towel.
wasn't dating anybody. You weren't dating anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was about to throw in the towel. I was a single mom at the time, so I had our oldest, and was out of a really rough domestic violence situation.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, it's not it's okay, but is a big part of our journey, and I think like what brought us together, and we reconnected after that, and after I think like our first or second date on that time, I was like, we were inseparable from that point, and Charlotte loved him, which is my oldest, and he loved her, and we have been on this crazy path
Now,
since.
how old is Charlotte?
She is now 6.
She's 6. Okay.
Yeah, so she was a little bit over 1 when we started dating again after all of that.
Oh my gosh.
And now we have 2 more.
That is just amazing how you guys, and you were pretty young when you guys met, huh? Because you've been together now
5-ish
5-ish
years. Yeah. So Charlotte was 1. We were together for a year before we got engaged.
Yeah.
And because of COVID, we didn't get to get married right away because we went through like that whole crazy flux of the wedding industry and things getting pushed back and all of that. But we got to get married, and so it's been like 5 years now at this point.
About 5 years.
Yeah.
So.
See, you're still like newlyweds. You're still babies.
Yeah.
So, how old are your kids? How old are the other 2?
2.5 and 1.
And boys or girls?
All girls.
All girls.
All girls. You're destined to have girls.
All girls.
He is a great girl dad.
I
he is
love
amazing
it.
at being a girl dad.
I think it's easier personally.
You know what? I'll tell you what. There's a bond with girls and their daddies. So yeah, I know it's not fair.
It's unfair, especially because our middle looks exactly like him.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't until our youngest that I had a kid that looked like me.
Right? I have 3, and I only have one that looks like me. It's my middle. He's the only one who has dark hair and like dark skin. Everybody's blonde blue eyes.
Yep. Yeah, she's dark hair like his eyes, but the rest are like
I was
color.
just saying, you both have beautiful eyes. Yours are like more of a blue.
Yeah.
Yours are more green.
Yeah, green hazel.
Okay. Yeah. Depends by what you're
what
wearing.
we're wearing.
Emma and I, if you're listening to this podcast, we both have our hot pink on. We're the hot pink girls.
We love it. I love my hot pink. It's my brand.
I know,
it's my image.
That's our. You know why? Because it brightens.
It
Like,
does.
it brightens my day and it brightens other people's day just to see me. You know, sometimes a little overkill because
That does not matter. You're not overkill.
there's no such thing, right?
Nope.
I'm
You're not too
surprised
much.
that Zach didn't show up with wearing pink.
He's
I
all
missed the
dark
memo.
everything
He didn't get
all
the
the
memo.
time.
He didn't get the memo. So you guys are married with children, and tell us a little bit about what you know with Modcon. Like, what do you guys? How did you get into your businesses? Businesses. I say businesses. That's what
Yeah. So actually, Modcon was started actually because of my first business. So when I was deployed, um I like fell into the whole finance thing.
yeah.
I was making pretty good money over there.
Right.
So I just wanted to do something with it when I got home. So like a ton of other people, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
and that led down a whole slew of, I couldn't even tell you how many books. I read like 40 books over like the next 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh, Zach! I give you a lot of credit.
You
I was
should
reading
see
a
his
lot of
Audible
books.
account.
Yeah.
It's disgusting
Seriously?
Hundreds
how
of
much
books.
he's
Oh,
read.
so you do it audio?
Well, when I was deployed, I was ordering books on Amazon.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Here's my book.
Yep.
So we had a
month later.
library. we had a library on our base.
Oh,
So I
that's so nice.
read through a couple of what self-help finance books I could find in
Yeah.
there, and then started ordering them on Amazon. But then I stumbled down Bigger Pockets path, their
Yeah.
podcast, and so then I decided I was gonna buy some real estate. I already owned a duplex by happenstance. My first house I bought was a duplex, but it had a 4-car garage. That's why I bought it.
Oh wow.
Um,
Wow. 4-car garage.
but
He
so I
misses
was like,
that. We don't have that
you
right now.
know, yeah. So I had the duplex, and I was like, I already own some real estate, like, so I just went down that path. So when I got home, I bought a triplex, and then a duplex, and then then
The 4-unit.
So
then
you got
yeah,
invested into real estate, which is a really good thing to have, like fixer-upper homes and stuff. 'Cause
yeah,
if you're in home improvement, obviously you know how to fix it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
But so I ended up buying like 20 units, and then we did our first flip. Oh man, I don't even know what year that was now. It was
2021.
before Lala was born.
It was 2020. It spanned between 2020 and 2021. 'cause
We were
of
doing it
COVID.
during COVID.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. We bought the full house
Yeah.
to flip
so we bought a house
together.
to flip.
Well, you were doing it, but
Yeah.
we were together at that point.
She was along for the ride for sure.
Somebody has.
I didn't know what I was signing up for.
We're like, darn it.
I didn't know what was to come.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I didn't know Modcon was on the horizon.
Yeah.
I knew the real estate investing was his passion, and he pushed me to start my business because of, we wanted financial freedom. We wanted flexibility for our kids. So,
I love you guys are so young. You're entrepreneurs.
yes.
You are entrepreneurs. And you're still like you still got ways
Years.
to go. Yeah. So you have probably so many things that you want to do.
Yeah.
I
For
haven't
sure.
met a couple like you two that are just really like go.
That's
Like
exciting.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love
Oh.
it that you're both doing what you want to do
Yeah.
and raising your kids.
I think it helps. I think
Yes.
with the opportunities that are out there now, that
What is your job, Emma?
I do operations consulting for online businesses. So I
Oh.
started that as a virtual assistant business when I was working in corporate to, have extra money on the side. And then when COVID happened, you had to go back to work. We didn't have anyone to stay with Charlotte. So I quit, went full time into virtual assistants, and then it niched down into helping service providers streamline and systematize their businesses.
Wow.
So-
And you got into that and look at and now it's great because you can work from home.
Oh yeah, it was perfect for us at the time, and I can take on as much or as little as I'd like to do with the kids.
I love that. I feel like that's, I feel like our times have changed now that we had COVID.
Yeah.
Working from home, kind of doing your own thing. That's when I started my own business doing the podcast. Like,
Right.
it was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing with my life? It's like now or never. Like, why are
Right.
we waiting around for this to happen when you can make it happen?
Yeah.
I mean, Zach, come on now. So now you have your own business. How many businesses? You still have real estate, or you just doing your?
So we still have real estate. I'll backtrack to your last question because it'll
Oh
answer
yeah,
everything.
sorry.
But,
I'm sorry.
we
I
don't
kinda-
No, you're
understand
fine.
you.
You're
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. I'm passionate about that, so, honey.
So we're doing the flip. I'm working night shift in the electrical union. We're doing the flip. I'm working hours during the day, after working all
Crazy
night,
hours.
working
You're crazy
weekends. We were working way too much.
Yeah.
and we just kept hiring people and hiring people and hiring people to like help me with the flip, and they all kind of sucked, to be honest.
Sorry.
You know, the very few of them were like reliable or trustworthy, and like I had to constantly check on them, and I was like, you know, the bar is very low,
Yeah.
and
It's hard.
you know, I was starting to get burned out in the union, you know, working night shifts. Like,
Our second
you
was on
know,
the
our
way.
second was on the way. It was just rough, and so you know,
You can't do it all.
yeah.
No.
You know?
So we started throwing on the idea of, you know, maybe doing contracting myself, and then you know the time came, and they were like, hey, we're gonna send you back to night shift,
It
and
was gonna be like another 2 years.
yeah,
There's another 2
and
years of night shift.
our Lila, our second, was due to be born in like a month, and I was like, no, I think we're gonna cut ties
Good
here.
for you.
So I
And night shift is hard.
It's so hard.
My dad worked night shift. My mom worked night shift. She's a nurse, and you get in your system and trying to like do
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff.
It's hard on everybody,
It
you
is.
know.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna catch up on your sleep. So what did you do now? You after you were like, I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
not doing it.
So I took
Well, Modcon had been started a little bit before that. I think you should specify that it had been
Once-
halfway
yeah.
inactive.
Yeah,
So
we
had some
had started to
jobs.
make the decision. You know, we were doing like some smaller jobs on the weekends, stuff like that. You know, we started to like breach into it to make sure it was viable.
Right.
Um,
It was you and your brother.
yeah, me and my brother. And I mean, I've just been dragging him along. You know, he just
He's along for the ride with
Yeah.
us at this point.
But so yeah, I asked for a layoff. Took the layoff, and we went full force into Modcon, and
Nice. And tell us why it's called Modcon.
so I opened the LLC for Modcon in 2017 because I was in the union. When you start out, you make really little money.
Right.
You know, as an apprentice, I think I started like $10.86 an hour or something. I was making more money working at Lowe's before that.
But you know,
Yeah.
now talking about the trades now, though, Zach. Like my son that's at Slipper Rock, we're like, you should get into like plumbing or
Mhm.
because people need the demand right now. Like that's the
Yep.
way to do it. You know.
Union electricians, journeyman electricians, now I think make $55 an hour.
Yeah.
It's very lucrative.
Yeah.
You
We
know,
even thought about electrician because my husband's cousin. Yeah, that's a.
it's very lucrative to be an electrician.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. That's. Yeah, you're right. Like electricians are probably up there.
Yeah.
Higher than anything, really.
Yeah,
It's very specialized.
yeah.
Yeah.
So did you hire veterans or like do you want to like put out there that you would like to hire some veterans that are like help out, like give back?
Yeah, no, we definitely do. So we've hired a few veterans now.
Yeah.
We had for a while. We had one of my old Marine friends work for us. We just hired a gentleman who was in the Navy.
Yeah.
Um,
He was stationed in Hawaii
yeah,
a while back.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is 20 years ago for him now, but
Yeah.
What do you find that having the employees from being veterans, like how do you see the difference? Their work ethic is probably so much.
yeah, you know, especially like veterans overall, definitely work ethic is just higher in general. You know, I don't want to like seclude people just because you know I
Right.
like veterans,
Right.
but
Yeah, I know. It's like we're trying to be biased, but we're not. But
yeah,
you
no, but
just know what to expect, and they know what to expect. You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
in general, you know, veterans they want to do better for themselves, and you know, their work ethic is higher. You know, you could ask a lot of them, and to them, it's like nothing,
Right.
and not in an abusive way, of course.
Right. No, I know. I totally get because what they've been through. And like, and I think about like my brother was so organized.
Yeah.
Like I remember I went to go visit him when we were in Italy, and he was folding up his clothes, and they were like in this square little, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
how did you do that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like he's like, oh Jen, we have to. It has to be perfectly,
Perfect.
like, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
They just know structure and
Right.
they have a better, like for us being a startup, I think it's so important that it can be chaotic some days because we're still figuring out like what we want our processes to look like. There's like 1,000 different ways to do something. How do we want it done? What is the culture we want to build with this business? Because we want this to be something bigger than us one day.
Right.
And so they understand and can bear down in the calm because you're really good at that. Like whenever things have gotten really chaotic for us as being both self-employed, you're always like, I have a plan, I'm going to stick to this plan. So they're
Right.
very much like the calm in the storm they take control of the situations. That's why like both of our foremen have been
I love
veterans,
that.
so
I
that
love
they
that.
can lead people. They understand that these what people need and how to nurture them. And so we've been working with the Pittsburgh Hire Vets organization to try and give back and hire people from that community, local schools, so students who, because you mentioned earlier the trades,
Yes.
they're not getting they're losing out on a lot of these students. Less people are going into them. It's going to eventually become a huge issue if people don't get into the
Oh
trades. If
my
these students,
gosh.
like, they're closing one of the trade schools in the area because of lack of demand.
Kidding
And
me?
yeah, like the
Oh,
one
no.
school that we've partnered with in the past, their last term is in February, and they don't know like what it's going to look like for them. They're trying, like, whatever, all that. But it's just
That's
an
hard.
industry wide problem. Like, we've talked to other entrepreneurs, because my business is all remote, so we've been able to connect with people outside of our area to see like, what are you going through, what are you struggling with, and everyone's saying hiring. So like, if we can get these students right out of school and show them, okay, and nurture them, there's like a path forward
I
for
love
you.
that. Yeah, because that's, you're giving back and you're looking for, there's so many kids out there that are graduating and not knowing what they want to do.
Right.
And then to start making pretty good money
Hmm.
at like such a young age and structure. And, I almost wanted to say to my son, take a year off,
Oh yeah.
really try to find yourself and try to find something, and work for
Hmm.
someone who, that to me would be the best bet to do.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody's out there listening right now, Zach, and they're like, how would they get a hold of you? How would they apply? What would they be doing? Like, what are you guys, you're looking for, or do you train them? Like, or do they already have to be trained?
So we hire everyone from complete entry level, called an entry level laborer, up to infinity and beyond.
Okay.
I would say it that way. Like, we don't have
Yeah.
like,
Hopefully one day we'll hire
one day,
anybody,
yes,
but you know what I
everybody,
mean.
we'd love to
Based
give
off of
everyone a job.
experience, I
Right.
mean, our newest hire has 20 some odd years,
In
building
construction.
high-end homes in California.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
So yeah.
But yeah, so we, generally speaking, people can go to modconstruction.us
.us. Okay.
/careers.
Yeah. I mean, if
Um,
you go to Modcon,
yeah.
you'll see it.
Okay.
And there you
It's
can,
US, right?
yes,
Okay.
there you can fill out our form to apply.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like, I am just so delighted to have you both here. And, like I said, like with November being military families, you are a military family because your husband was in the military,
Right.
and you never know, your daughters, they may want to do it too, I mean,
Our daughters a lot, like our oldest loves talking about him being in the Marine Corps, and
Yeah.
she's so proud to bring him to Veterans Day,
I
and
love that.
she wants to bring her grandpa this year too, so he will get to come with.
And I want pictures.
Oh,
I want
yeah,
pictures
I'll
of
send you
in your
pictures.
uniform, and I want pictures of you and whatever your family ones, if you want to share those. I mean, if there's anything else you want to tell the listeners or viewers, but I really feel like that I love the idea that you have this great young couple here who is raising beautiful girls, and you're doing so much, and you're helping the community, especially the veterans too. I really love that. You're giving back.
We want to
Yeah.
help make it. We're like, our goal is to put trust and reliability back into contracting, because we hear it so often from clients, but also develop younger generations and give back to those who serve, because we know, I work with like veteran programs and organizations in college, and they have such a rough transition. It's hard, and they don't know how to talk about it, cope with it. So if we can give them an outlet or a place that employs them, that understands, because there's companies that are bigger and they say, oh, we're going to give back, we want to hire veterans, but they don't understand what that truly means, and
Right.
how to cope with
That
PTSD,
makes it hard.
time off, what does that, how do we handle that? And we would just want to be a resource for those people
I love
to
it.
help them.
Thank you so much, you too.
Thank you for having us.
my
Thanks for letting us
gosh,
share the
yes.
story.
I love it. I love meeting new people and hearing your story. And I feel like I've known you guys, because when I sit here and I talk to you guys, I feel like, oh my gosh, like I feel like, I already know the girls. Like I feel like I know the girls already.
Yeah, you've heard the story, the whole story
Yeah.
there. Now you know.
I know. I love it. So if anybody would like to get a hold of them to maybe, you don't have to be a veteran.
No.
You can apply. So you can go to Modcon, and it's MODCONUS.com. And we'll have all that information underneath. But I just want to say thank you to you both
Thank you
being
for
on
having
Spill With
us.
Me, Jenny D.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks so much. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Come spill with me